Welcome back, horror fans, cinephiles, and giallo enthusiasts. I am Tanner Leeser, your host of The King in Giallo. In this episode, I will be tallying giallo film cliches found in the first giallo film ever produced, The Girl Who Knew Too Much, directed by Mario Bava in 1963. In my review video for The Girl Who Knew Too Much, I revealed the simple X out of 26 A to Z gialli tally score, showing how many of the A to Z giallo film cliches the movie utilized. 18 out of 26. In this video, I will go into more details behind that counting system, add bonus points, and do a full and thorough gialli tally breakdown. While tallying this video, I discovered a few things within my cliche list that I wanted to expand a tad, and I will mention those as they come up. If you have not seen my giallo cliche breakdown video, go ahead and check that out. The Girl Who Knew Too Much centers on Nora, a young American woman visiting Rome who gets swept up in investigating a murder she witnessed, but which no one believes occurred because of the lack of evidence supporting what Nora claims to have seen. The slaying seems to have a connection to a series of murders which occurred 10 years prior, and Nora begins to believe that she will be the next victim. Okay, let's jump right into the cliches. Firstly, because this is the first giallo film, there are no repeat offender points to award. On to the title points. Based on my breakdown, I don't really have a category that The Girl Who Knew Too Much fits in. The closest one would be a title that follows as the blank with the blank, but the title is absolutely a giallo type title. I will award it 5 points for being a riff on a Hitchcock title. Up next are the first look cliches, and the film will receive 25 points for the Italian director, and an additional 15 points for influence bonus for being a proto-giallo. Okay, strap in folks, it's time for the A to Z cliches and the style bonus points. Right away we see an airplane, 2 points. We hear jazzy music right away, this will come up at the end for the bonus points section. X is for xenophobia. We have a foreigner. Okay, this was one of the A to Z cliches which I wasn't sure if I should award the film because technically speaking, the movie doesn't contain any true xenophobia against Nora. There are lines here and there about her being a tourist, but she's never put down because of it. At the end of the day, I decided to give it to the film because my extra point stipulation was that the main character was a foreigner, and that much is absolutely true. So, 10 points. We see a character inside the airplane, full points for airplane, so add 3 to that too. As we soon find out, this is illicit drug use, which is being done against someone's will. Extra points, 10 points total. L is for lies, 5 points. E is for eyeballs, 5 points. Animals featured, a pet, a cat, 2 points. Urban locales, 2 points. Italian locales, 3 points. Z is for zoom, 5 points. Extra points for Z is for zoom, both a zoom on a dead or dying victim, and extra for zoom on a knife. 5 plus 5, 10 points here. K is for knife, 5 points. There's a knife kill, 5 points. W is for witness, extra because Nora will be stalked afterwards, 10 points. Evidence is seen being destroyed or a body is hidden, 5 points. Y is for yelling, extra if it's a hysterical woman, 10 points. Don't crucify me over this, we all love Nora. Q is for questions, 5 points. Woman is being gaslit, 4 points. Useless police, 2 points. F is for fashion, 5 points. And gratuitous art, photography, 5 points. C is for children, 5 points. Again, this one I was on the fence about awarding the movie, seeing as how the kids aren't characters and their presence isn't central to the plot, but hey, I was feeling generous. V is for voyeur, 5 points. Funeral scene, extra points for learning information at the funeral, 5 points. P is for priest, 5 points. Extra points here under L is for lies. As we will discover later, the killer is lying about an alibi, 5 points. And at the risk of being inconsistent, I did not award A's for alibi because Laura is never formally suspected and questioned, and so this isn't exactly what I'd consider a true alibi. But Tanner, how can you say she's lying about an alibi if you don't think it's an alibi in and of itself? My explanation is not bulletproof, but I feel if she were being questioned, that's an alibi, but her freely lying about something does constitute as lying about an alibi. It doesn't make sense, but neither does the script. Focus is on a door handle, 5 points. Exposition dumping, 2 points. T is for telephone, extra points for the killer making the call, 10 points. I will not be giving points for a taunting phone call to the police, unfortunately. Spiral staircase? It's not what I picture in my head, but again, I'll give it to the movie, 5 points. Audio recording device, 5 points. Is this being used as a trap? We don't really know. Marcello does show up, which could reason that the killer fled the scene, but the lack of a killer POV or some equivalent kind of dispels this. We don't really know for certain if this is a trap. Extra points for Q is for questions. We finally have some real questions in an investigative capacity being yelled, so add another 5 points to that. Characters necking, 5 points. I considered woman being molested, but I'll say despite his aggressive tactics, this is not the case. R is for reporter, extra points for being an amateur sleuth, 10 points total. Mistaken identity, 5 points. Gratuitous art, architecture or statues. I already gave the movie 5 points, but if you weren't convinced that there was art in the movie, then hopefully this counts. Murder is framed as a word I cannot say on YouTube, 5 points. This is another one of those cliches that I sort of had in the list, but it was geared around vehicular accidents, and so I expanded it now to include faked deaths like so. M is for morgue, 5 points. Odd clue central to the mystery, 5 points. Extra points for K is for knives for the blood now seen on the blade, 5 points. Another knife kill, 5 points. Accomplice is killed, 5 points. Hidden identity until the finale, 5 points. O is for obsession. Extra, both the killer and the amateur sleuth are obsessed, 10 points. S is for secrets. Extra for an impossible to predict motivation of the killer, 10 points total. The killer is killed, 10 points. Man saves a woman. We already have the 4 points for a woman being gaslit, so let's add 6 for the total and max points possible of 10 points for typical 1970s Italian misogyny. And hey, it's 1963. Look at that. H is for hallucination, extra due to drugs and being the witness of a murder, 10 points. I know, this is not a true hallucination, but the fact that the movie spends an exorbitant amount of time discussing it being a hallucination and just playing with the notion throughout, I'll give it to the film. It's kind of cheating, but it's also the first giallo film. On to post-viewing cliches. The reason for the killing: mental illness, psychopathy, or obsession, 7 points. Reason for investigating: obsession, 10 points. Again, I had to bend this one because I initially described the obsession as being linked to revenge for someone being killed, but honestly, Nora is obsessed with proving that she's not crazy, so just shows that my system is imperfect and will expand as it needs. Extra points for an amateur detective, 5 points. Bonus points. We got the style bonus. We lack POV shots and colored lights, obviously, but the film is in monochrome black and white, which is a style choice for the era. We lack the usual Mario Bava focus rack dissolves, but we have some crazy visual film effects, which you don't really see anywhere else. We don't have any other slow-mos, stuttering, or inserts, but we have plenty of crash zooms. Although, interestingly, no zoom-ins on eyes. With a max of 25 points possible, for The Girl Who Knew Too Much, I will award a style bonus overall of 12 points. Soundtrack, 15 points. Bad effects, actually no. Final look, extra points. The Deadpool, tallying how many kills and deaths are featured in the film. We have 5 people seen being killed or dying in the movie, with another 3 killed in the past, and a former suspect who dies in prison. For this reason, I break it down as thus: 10 points per kill or death seen for the main Deadpool, plus those 5 points per kills with a knife, which we already added, plus any stylistic kill multipliers, which the movie did not have any stylistic kills. So, Ethel Widnall, 10 points. Maria Strachinev, 10 points. Andrea Landini, 10 points. Professor Torani, 10 points. Laura Craven Torani, 10 points. Extended Deadpool for those other deaths mentioned but not seen. I'll give 3 points for each and include these points in the new tallying system. Gina Abert, 3 points. Maria Beccati, 3 points. Emily Craven, 3 points. Strachinev, 3 points. Red herrings for the total number of legitimate suspects in the film. For me, these players are Professor Torani for obvious reasons, 5 points. Andrea Landini, 5 points. Marcello Bassi, 5 points. And Laura Torani, 5 points. Although the movie doesn't really focus on Laura, if you're paying attention, you could easily suspect it's her, especially when you get to the last scene before the finale. It kind of narrows it down to being Laura, or at least Laura working with her husband. It's not like Deep Red, where the killer's reveal kind of comes out of nowhere. Flashback sequences. I'll award the entire series of flashbacks during Landini's story, so 5 points total. And there is no nudity, so no points there. Ladies and gentlemen, for the A to Z giallo film cliches, as mentioned last time, we have a base score of 18 out of 26 cliches. With the bonus points for these added, we have a modified score total of 155 points. And for the full Gialli Tally score, I award The Girl Who Knew Too Much a Gialli Tally score of 452 points. What does this mean? We don't know yet. As we tally more giallo films, we'll see how high these scores really go. Thank you one and all for watching. I genuinely hope you enjoyed this video and the Gialli Tally. Honestly, the Gialli Tally was why I started making these videos to begin with. I plan on refining the process and making these videos sleeker and visually more appealing, so think of this first episode as a rough draft for the future tallies. I understand this whole thing may seem clunky or may not be your thing, and that's totally fine. I hope you still will watch the overviews and reviews for the giallo films if the Gialli Tally is just not for you. And to reiterate, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any cliches you'd like to add to my list, leave them in the comments and I will consider them. The first Gialli Tally showed me that I need to expand some of my definitions and criteria to allow for things I wasn't thinking of. Please like this video, share it with your friends if they are horror fans or cinephiles, subscribe to The King in Giallo if you haven't yet, and if you have any thoughts, questions, comments, curiosities, or concerns, leave those below in the comments section and I will get back to you. Give The King in Giallo a follow on Instagram and a like on Facebook. Help get the word out. I greatly appreciate it in my ongoing battle with the YouTube algorithm. Next giallo film on The King in Giallo is Mario Bava's Blood and Black Lace. Next video is the overview for Blood and Black Lace, followed by the review and the Gialli Tally. Thanks again for watching and supporting me, and if nothing else, I will see you next time for The King in Giallo.